The Bible tells us in the end time a world economic system will be in place, and unless you have the mark, you will not be able to buy, sell, or trade. Unrealized by most due to the attention being pushed toward Ukraine and Russia, the globalist plan for the Great Reset is moving forward at lightning speed. Before you realize it, the elites will have total control through digital IDs that look a lot like the prophesied mark of the beast. Will you be on board for such a digital ID? Or are you being lured into compliance without even realizing it? Let's talk about it. Welcome to End of the Age. I'm Vince Stegall here with Doug Norvell. We're taking your calls today. The number to join us is 877-Endtime, 877-363-8463. Doug, we're talking about total control through digital IDs.
Yeah.
There's no way that will ever happen.
Man, I never would have thought it would in my lifetime, Vince, I got to tell you. But yeah, it's here. And it's crazy because, you know, like you said in the tease there, while we've been focused on this war that's been going on between Russia and Ukraine, things are being implemented, things are being done, and it's all part of a plan, it appears. Just yesterday, you know, our president released a order that they were going to begin to investigate into digital currency here. The implications of that could be catastrophic for us, even because we saw what they did in Canada. We saw what they could do with the bank accounts of the truck drivers and people that gave money to that cause. Well, now even in our own country, our president has said something about, you know, we're going to look into digital currency, and that may be one way that we move, and that means total control. And so, you know, interesting stuff that's happening, Vince.
It is interesting, and we're going to get right into today's show because we don't have a lot of time, but we have a lot of content.
Right.
We have a lot of really good content that we think everybody should see. There's some video footage that, you know, we'll explain a little bit later, but a little comedic perspective in the videos, which I know some of you love and I know some of you hate. So if you don't like it, email Doug. If you love it, email me. But we'll look at what's happening with digital IDs from that lens a little bit today. But you can call us. The number to join us is 877-Endtime, 877-363-8463. It's a very important program. All your friends and family need to see it. So share this video. That way they get all the information that we're sharing as well as the clips that'll be coming up soon. We want to feature a story from the Paradise called Revealing the Great Reset's 5G Cyborg Ecosystem. And
just the title in itself is scary.
Yeah, cyborg sounds kind of weird, right?
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All good. It's as creepy as all get out. But the article starts by saying, whether people realize it or not, the Great Reset is a globalist plan that is moving forward at lightning speed. The COVID-19 pandemic was part and parcel of that plan, as detailed in Klaus Schwab's book, COVID-19, The Great Reset. But to really fulfill the technocrats' ambitions, a war of some kind is likely needed. It's calling for a war.
Yeah.
Because it's likely needed, as reported by Dr. Vernon Coleman with the expose.
Yeah. And isn't it interesting that that's what we're witnessing right now? And it's like the second step toward what their plan is. We're watching this war happen. They're saying that we need a war or something like that to generate. We need a crisis so that we can implement this information. And we'll get into it more as we get into the article, but it's very interesting that that's what we're witnessing right now.
Now, we have a clip to talk about Klaus Schwab a little bit more. This is a comedian, but the comedian talks about very serious things. And so he intertwines comedy with what's really happening. And it kind of is like he's telling you that the news says this is bad, and so therefore he's kind of going, so it's really bad, right? But here's what they said, and then he goes, but that's not really what he's saying. So it's kind of like one of the, his name's JP Spears. He has a YouTube channel, lots of funny videos, lots of things that, real stuff that we talk about. It's like, he's talking about stuff, it seems, I'm like, it's crazy how in alignment some of the topics are with Bible prophecy. But, well, rather than us trying to explain it, how about we go to the first clip?
Let's do it.
All right.
One of the features of this fourth industrial revolution is that it doesn't change what we are doing, but it changes us. The difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing, it changes you. If you take genetic editing, just as an example, it's you who are changed. And of course this has a big impact on your identity.
Editing your genes? Cool. I'll explain that later. But first, why do so many people consider this guy, Klaus Schwab, to be the most dangerous man in the world? Well, there's some reasons. A lot of them. A little bit about Klaus Schwab. He's the author of COVID-19, The Great Reset. What a grand opportunity indeed. Oh, and his book was published on July 9th, 2020. Wonder how he got it written and published that fast. It's almost like maybe he pre-wrote it before he started the pandemic. I mean, before the pandemic started. Old Klaus is also the founder and chairman of the World Economic Forum, an organization that faces the public with very noble sounding goals of creating a better world. Fear-mongering about climate change and disease are big goals of theirs. Welcome to Davos. Just park your private jet over there and then go inside and pretend to be concerned about climate change. Klaus and the World Economic Forum want a worldwide digital ID system that determines your access to goods and services. It would monitor your online behavior, purchases, and biometrics. It kind of seems like he just wants to do away with the whole democratic process and give all the power to the state and whoever runs the state, the deep state. But that's based on both his words and actions, so it's probably an inaccurate observation.
So like you said, he does this from a comedic angle, but he does talk about very serious subjects, and this is a very serious subject. I mean, we're talking about how the mark of the beast could be set up here, Vince.
Well, and he talks about it, and he kind of is like, to think this way, we're being told that this is stupid, and then he sheds light on it to where it's like, almost like if you don't think that way, it's stupid. So it's kind of interesting.
It is very interesting. And, you know, I mean, one of the things that we saw in just that clip right there, we saw him speaking to people. I don't know if you realized who the arrows were pointing at, but one was an actor from Hollywood. I can't even think of his name now, the guy from Titanic. Yeah, that guy.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
There you go, Leonardo DiCaprio. And then the other guy was our sitting president, Biden, right now. And he's sitting there in this forum with Klaus Schwab. Interesting.
Very interesting. We're going to talk more about how the control attempt is going to happen through digital IDs. On the other side of the break, we have additional clips as well to show you. Some comedy, some not. So stick around. You don't want to miss 1 minute of what we'll be showing you. Also, don't forget to share. And you can call us, 877-Endtime, 877-363-8463. Right now, there are tens of thousands of Jewish immigrants stranded in Ukraine as Russia invades city after city with no regard for human life. 3,000 Jews are ready to return to Israel today. The need for evacuation, shelter, flights, and emergency housing, nearly $10 million. The Jews in Ukraine need your help. If half of you gave just $250 toward this need, it would be met in full today. Please consider giving to help Jews safely escape Ukraine. To give or learn more, go to endtime.com/Ukraine or call 800-ENDTIME. That's endtime.com/Ukraine or 800-363-8463.
Hi, I'm Judy Baxter. When Irvin and I got married, we didn't realize that our calling would be a prophetic ministry. Since we started Endtime Ministries, there have been many times we weren't sure how we would pay the bills, but God has always provided. We started with the magazine, then went on radio and TV, and now we have the Jerusalem Prophecy College in Israel and online and End of the Age Plus. The mission has always been to reach people with the gospel of Jesus Christ and the end time message. Through the years, my husband would say, we will see revival like never before in the last days. We are living in the end time now. Thank you for walking this journey with us and continuing in prayer. You are a part of the team. Thank you for your generous support. It is necessary for God's purpose. The most important thing is that you are ready when the Lord comes. Our hope is to help prepare you for that day. God bless you, and we love you.
Welcome back to End of the Age. I'm Vince Stegall here with Doug Norvell. We have open lines at 877-END-TIME, 877-363-8463. Like Judy said in that last commercial, our hope is that we prepare you, or we help prepare you for the day when the Lord returns. And that's what we are focused on here. So we're going to talk about tough subjects sometimes. That's why it's so important for you to know about the control attempts that are being made through digital ID. It's also important for you to know about being born again. We talk about that from time to time. We believe that you should be prepared for what's coming in this physical world, but way more importantly is you being prepared spiritually. And so we'll talk about that from time to time. You can learn more about what it means to be born again, like the Bible talks about. The disciples referred to it as being transformed, and we talk about that as well. And you can learn more about that at endtime.com/reborn. Doug, that was a pretty powerful message when you first heard it. I think today's a special day for you, right?
Yeah, today is actually an anniversary for me of when I was born again. So pretty awesome day. Anytime that this time rolls around, we reflect on that, because that was a great awakening. We talk about this great awakening. That was a great awakening for me. And Vince, the Bible says that all will worship the beast except those whose names are written in the Lamb's Book of Life. So that's one of the key factors to all this. Why we talk about it is so you can get your name written in the Lamb's Book of Life. Very important.
Well, happy anniversary.
Well, thank you very much.
It's a great day.
It is.
Well, we want to get back into this subject, but I do want to remind you about what's going on in Ukraine with the Jewish immigrants that are trying to make Aliyah back to Israel. We are in partnership with the Jewish agency there. We've said it many times at this point, but there are thousands of Jews there are still thousands of Jews in Ukraine trying to make Aliyah back to Israel. These aren't young men necessarily. There might be some, but most of these would be women and children and the elderly. And we played a video on Tuesday showing you some of the clips from them going to the first 300 going to Tel Aviv. We are still in communication with the Jewish agency, getting updates about what's going on. Like I said, there are thousands still trying to get out, and it requires a lot of money to make that happen. When you look at the grand scope, it's not a lot of money considering they're doing an international flight, getting housing and training for 3 months, and much more. Food, I believe, is included as well. So it ends up being about $2,700 per person. Not really that much money considering all the things, but it is a lot of money to you and I know. If half of you watching gave $250, this would be covered in one day. Now we know that's not possible, so if the Lord lays it on your heart to give, we ask you to follow the Spirit's leading there. You can learn more about what's going on with Ukraine and the Jewish Aliyah going on at endtime.com/Ukraine. Like I said, pray about it, see what the Lord would have you to do. If you don't feel like He wants you to give anything, that's perfectly fine. We are not going to put you on a guilt trip over that. We just want you to follow the Lord's leading and presenting a need to you that we're aware of that we think you should know about. So consider that. Go to endtime.com/Ukraine or give us a call at 800-END-TIME. We'll be glad to help you out with that. Also, Dave and Jana and Doug and Tina and Judy Baxter will be in Gladewater, Texas this weekend. Dave will be teaching on Saturday at 6 p.m. on the Antichrist Socialistic Kingdom, and then Sunday 10 a.m. on Breaking Prophecy News. So you don't want to miss this weekend. If you're anywhere near Gladewater, make the trip out. They'll be having a great time there. You'll get to hang out with Dave and Doug, and like I said, their wives and Judy Baxter will be there as well. They're having a Mexican dinner Saturday night afterwards. It's totally free, is that right?
Yep, it's at the church there, and we'll be able to go over into our Life Center, and we'll be able to visit with you while we're all sharing a meal together.
Are you and Dave sitting in a VIP room in the back, or is it?
No, we're right out there with the common folk.
Because we are common folk.
Yeah, absolutely.
So make plans to come out for that. You can learn more about the event and the venue. Get the address on endtime.com/events, or again, you can call us at 800-ENDTIME. All right, Doug, we got to get right back into this. The article goes on to say about total control through digital IDs. There's no doubt calamity weather events and World War have been part of the plan from the start. They need chaos, mass casualties, and financial chaos in order to create the desperation necessary for people to give up their freedoms and give in to tyrannical control. I think I need to pause here and remind you that this is from the Paradise. Mm-hmm. This isn't a prophecy ministry. This isn't us writing this. Right. This is somebody writing a story, and we are sharing what that story is saying. It goes on to say, but the stick is not the only tool in the technocrats' toolbox. Case in point, digital IDs. The World Economic Forum, founded by Schwab, has for years promoted the implementation of digital IDs and ensuring that everyone on the planet has a legal digital identity as part of the United Nations 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. Convenience is a key incentive for digital IDs, and I can testify to that, Doug. Yeah. I just had to fly on a plane to Florida. It's the first time I've flown in like 7 years.
Man.
Yeah, I'm kind of...
That's a long time.
I'm weird. And I didn't know on the way out of Dallas that you could have your boarding pass on your phone.
Oh, yeah.
So I went up to the counter like you used to do back in the olden days.
Yeah.
And printed off my boarding pass and waited in line and did all that stuff. And I saw people just in line with their phone and they're showing their boarding pass. And I thought, man, I didn't have to print it and wait and go through all that extra stuff, 10 extra minutes.
Right.
Thought on the way home, I'm going to fix that. So I did the boarding pass on the app. And I was like, this is extremely convenient.
Yeah.
And well worth doing.
And there's the key word, convenience.
That's the key word.
Because it does. It takes some of the stress off of going too. You're not waiting in a long line. You're just standing there with your phone. You're ready to go in. And, you know, when you walk up to the counter, you don't even have to have a ticket. You're a big, I guess, proponent of saving paper.
Where are we going with this?
You know, you like to save paper. You like to not have to have a paper trail. You like the electronic route.
If paper is necessary, I go paper.
But see, that's a generational thing too. You grew up with the technology. We old folks are having to learn how to use the technology. You grew up with it. So
I remember when computers made their way in school. I might be young, but I am from Richmond, Indiana, so we weren't up with the times necessarily.
I hear you.
So I remember when computers were introduced.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like paperless a lot.
Right.
So
that's pretty cool, and it's one of those things that allure you with that, and you know, that's how they're going to make this cool. They're going to make it cool to have a chip implanted in you that has all your information on it. You book a flight, hey, that just gets uploaded to your chip. How about that?
Easy.
Yeah.
Go up to your car. You don't have to dig your keys out of your purse or your pocket.
Yeah.
Just open the door. Well, mine does that now because it has a sensor on the
a smart
remote.
chip in your remote. Yeah.
And you just walk up, and when I grab the handle, it unlocks.
Just wait.
I've got a 2014-15 RAV4.
Yeah.
And it's already got that. I can't imagine what the new cars have.
I know. I'm telling you.
With a central digital ID on your phone and eventually an implanted chip, well, there it is, you'd be able to do everything from checking into a doctor's office to securing a mortgage. In an article arguing for digital IDs, the WEF also stresses that millions of people who flee their homelands due to war or persecution cannot secure refugee status due to the fact that they lost their identity documents in the confusion. Apparently, they want us to believe that no one would ever flee a situation without a cell phone holding their digital identity, or perhaps they're jumping straight to implants.
Yeah. So we know, Vince, with the the implants that they had in, is it Switzerland or Sweden? It's Sweden, isn't it? They have the chips there where they can do so many different things there, and they're putting the implants in their hands, getting in their job locations, unlocking doors, all that kind of stuff. They talked about how easy it would be just to put your COVID vaccine information on there too, and so now you don't have to carry around any kind of cards or paperwork for that. It's just in your chip. And so with this war that we've been watching right now, even with what's going on with the Jewish people that we're helping to get back home for Aliyah, this kind of system is the kind of system they would like people to have, because in an emergency you may not be able to grab your phone, you know, or maybe your phone will be destroyed. I mean, if you're truly in a building and they're bombarding a building, who knows what's going to happen to your phone, and then where are you at when you run away? So that's one of the reasons that they say they need a war to help implement this. It'll give them a reason for it.
Well, like, consider that, like, any elderly folks in your life, I mean, that may not own a computer.
Yeah.
Or even a smartphone. How inconvenient is life for them right now?
Right. Yeah.
It's
My dad
almost
has a flip phone. He's 81 years old.
a computer. Does he have one of those?
No.
So what's he do to? He doesn't have a Facebook account.
No.
What does he do to book a doctor's appointment?
I guess he picks the phone up and
Is it a
calls.
rotary phone?
He uses his flip phone.
Yeah. So he has to call to do that.
Right.
Or if he wants to deal with the bank, he's got to call
Right.
or go down there.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, most of us are, you know, we don't bother waiting on hold for 29 minutes.
No.
We go email the email or go log into our account and do whatever we need to do.
Yeah.
So it's very inconvenient if you don't have a computer or a phone right now. And just think of how things are going to get more and more inconvenient if you don't comply with the new technology.
Absolutely. It's going to be so easy.
It will. They also claim nearly 1 billion people have no legal identity and therefore cannot open a bank account. Why are they all concerned about this now?
I wonder.
I didn't think that was a problem. You can vote without one, but don't try crossing some border in Europe without one. But
No.
here it might be okay.
Yeah.
Get a loan or vote. That's nearly 1 billion people can't do that. But is that really justification enough to force digital IDs on everyone, whether you have a real need for it or not? No, it's not about need. It's not about convenience. It's about them getting control over us.
Yeah, that's the bottom line, the control.
Control. And then now financial transparency, who is that actually for? That same article from WEF, it reviews a digital ID app with an ingenious transparency engine. The argument is that this feature would enable charities to follow the money they send to projects. This way they can account for where all the donations went. Anyone who's looked into the WEF's plan for mankind knows that this example is pure baloney. A system of financial transparency is never going to be used to give regular folk insight into an organization's financial dealings. It will be used to give the ruling I can't say that word, Doug.
Exactly.
Yeah, very powerful people insight into our financial transactions, yours and mine.
All right.
The Canadian Freedom Convoy and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's invocation of the Emergencies Act offered a rare glimpse into the power they want over your finances. They want to be able to single out every single person that contributes to an anti-establishment cause, even if it's just for a few measly dollars, and seize everything you have in retribution. Trudeau had to invoke extraordinary emergency powers to do that.
And remember, we talked about just a while ago, we said our president now is checking into this digital currency. Imagine, Vince, if we went all digital currency. So money would not exist anymore, only numbers in a computer system. And so they would just have to go in and freeze your account on a computer. You're done. That's what they did to the truck drivers there. And now we have this massive convoy moving up to Washington. I think they're there now. And is it just a matter of time before we see this implemented here in the United States, being able to call this emergency act and shut down bank accounts? And if you've helped that cause, your bank account gets shut down.
And that's partly why I posed the question initially was, are you going to be in favor of something like this, or are you being lured into complying?
Yeah.
Well, everything's so convenient. we can't imagine not being able to do the things that we do now.
Right.
FOMO, fear of missing out. So you
Yeah.
comply to do it. We do have open lines. The number to join us is 877-Endtime, 877-363-8463. Mary is with us from Texas. Let's go to Mary. Welcome to End of the Age.
Welcome to End of the Age.
Mary, can you turn the radio off, please? We're hearing the feedback. Are you there, Mary?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Welcome to End of the Age. You're live on the air.
Welcome. I have a lot heavy on my heart, but I'm going to keep it short because we have other audiences. My stake of this whole thing of the war, sir, it was a plan. It's a distraction. And the globalists have to implement, like you said, use a crisis, like what's her name said, never let a crisis go bad.
Right.
And the people, eventually, a lot of them, they're going to crumble because we like conveniency. And all that you're teaching, a lot of people think this is a fairy tale, even the church. It's just sad.
Yeah.
They're not reading Revelation. They don't even want to hear, oh, it's doom and gloom. Right? So it's a plan to implement this thing for the Antichrist. And a lot of the people, globalists, they're nothing but Luciferians in our government. Sad. 541, not all of them are down, but those that are pushing for this agenda.
Mary, we've got about 30 seconds left. What's your question today?
My question is, do you believe that this is a setup for all this digital? Because China is ahead. China's ahead, and we're behind when it comes to technology, and they don't want China to be. China's going to beat us out anyhow because you see how controlling he is. That guy's a Nero.
Well, thank you for your call, Mary. Because of the break, we'll have to answer your question on the other side. We appreciate your call. We'll let you go, and we'll answer your question on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere. You can join us, too, by calling 877-Endtime, 877-363-8463.
Whether it's a global pandemic, threat of war, or floundering economies, end-time events are happening around the world every day. How can you have peace in a world of such great uncertainty? With the Endtime magazine subscription, you can gain a deeper understanding of current events and its prophesied repercussions. Endtime magazine's exclusive content and prophetic insight allows you to understand where we are in the end time. It will give you peace when horrific news and events happen. When you subscribe today to Endtime magazine for 12 months for just $19.99, you can have hope for the future because you will understand what the Bible says about the time we are living in. You'll get access to exclusive articles like the prophesied American-Israeli alliance, Endtime do's and don'ts, and could school choice save America? Subscribe for you or a friend right now. Go to endtime.com or call 1-800-ENDTIME. That's 1-800-ENDTIME.
The symbols and prophecies within the book of Revelation have perplexed Christians and unbelievers around the world. In his final work, Revelation, The Unveiling of Jesus Christ Part 2, the late Irvin Baxter unlocks the mystery of the book of Revelation with in-depth analysis and commentary like you've never heard before. These comprehensive study tools, available for $299, will deepen your biblical understanding. Don't miss this special offer. Call 1-800-ENDTIME. or go to endtime.com.
If your station only carries the first 30 minutes of End of the Age, go to endtime.com and click the watch button to continue today's broadcast. You can also finish up later by clicking the archive button.
Welcome back to End of the Age. Open lines at 877-363-8463. That's 877-Endtime. Give us a call. We'd love to have you on the air. Before the break, Mary asked the question on what we thought about the Ukraine-Russia war, how Russia has invaded Ukraine, if that was a plan or not. Obviously, the Russians certainly had a plan to do it, and they are working out the plan that they've made. And of course, we also believe that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, And we're wrestling against spiritual matters here. And so we certainly believe that the Antichrist is at work. He wants to impose his kingdom on this world, and that's what Dave will be teaching about in Gladewater this weekend. And so, yeah, there's certainly a spiritual element to it, where the Antichrist is moving pieces around to implement his plan for the world. And so how involved in the details he is in that war, we certainly can't say specifically, but we know that there's spiritual matters involved here. Doug, do you have anything to add to that?
No,
or correct me on...
No, I mean, I agree. Just like this article is talking about, this could be part of the plan to implement these changes. Like it said, they need crisis, and out of the crisis to pull everybody together for a cause. And that's what, you know, even if this was not a plan to get this instated, they're using it as a launching pad for this. So regardless, like you said, the enemy is really the one that's behind all this. The devil is the one driving for a one world government, for a mark of the beast, for a one world religion. He's driving all this. And so regardless of if this was planned for this or not, they're using it for it. So we know that's obvious because that's what we're seeing happen before our eyes.
If you've never seen Master Plan of the Dragon by Irvin Baxter, you should go to End of the Age Plus, which can be found at watch.endtime.com, or you can search all the major app stores for End of the Age Plus and download the app. Master Plan of the Dragon is a very interesting video. It's not like any others that we have, in my opinion. It goes into the master plan of the dragon and gets involved in some details that I guess we don't typically cover, and so highly recommend you going and watching that on End of the Age Plus. You can stream it 24/7 on demand. Check it out at watch.endtime.com. The article goes on to say, Doug, that make no mistake, the digitization of your identity and finances means they'll have power to throttle your finances if you misbehave. Or for any reason, really.
Yeah.
In a worst case scenario, they'll have the power to turn you into a non-entity, locking you out of your identity, credentials altogether, which we've seen to some scale in Canada, like it's mentioned. I really cannot overstate the danger of digitizing and linking together all of your personal records. As noted by the WEF itself, our digital identity determines what products, services, and information we can access, or conversely, what is closed off to us. Doesn't that tell you everything you need to know?
Yeah, it definitely does. So this whole thing, like we said, is about control ultimately, because they'll have the authority to put a personal sanction on you, like how we're trying to sanction Russia right now because of the aggression that they're having toward the Ukrainians, and the whole world is trying to put sanctions on Russia to make life hard for them. They'll be able to do this on a personal level. It'll be if I don't comply with what they want me to comply with, or maybe I just put something on social media that they don't agree with. They'll either deduct points from my checking account or my banking account, or completely lock me out of it. That's a scary thought.
That is a scary thought. We have another video clip. We need to explain again, though. This is his name's JP Spears, YouTube channel. He's a comedian, but he also talks about real life stuff from a serious perspective. And so he intertwines the two, and it's probably in alignment with the way a lot of you watching think. And so we thought these clips would be beneficial to not only understand what we're talking about here, but also give a different perspective than what we might normally feature. So let's go to the second video.
Now for some additional fun facts about Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. They've got a Young Leaders program, which is a 5-year indoctrination program into their principles. The goal of the program is to create world leaders who don't answer to their people because they don't care about them. They answer to their bosses at the World Economic Forum. Graduates of the program include admirable world leaders that are suspiciously in lockstep with the Great Reset, such as Justin Trudeau, Francis Macron, and Mark Zuckerberg. Sponsoring partners of the World Economic Forum's Young Global Leaders program have been the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and Google. I wonder why Google censors and shapes information to be in exact support of the World Economic Forum's narrative. Oh, another fun fact. The World Economic Forum is predicting a worldwide cyber attack. I'm pretty much a wizard at predicting the things I'm going to do too. The very concerned Schwab believes the cyber attack could bring a complete halt to our power grid, transportation, hospital services, and to our society as a whole. The World Economic Forum then simulated the cyber attack. Simulated or planned? I'm not sure, but they said it was a simulation, so it's probably best to just believe them.
Yeah. So, I mean, what we see there is we see what we've talked about before, these young leaders who are in this global world leader schooling where they go through the program and they are transforming their minds to think globally. So remember, Klaus Schwab, a few weeks ago, we showed a video that had been uncovered, and Klaus Schwab was bragging about the fact that he had infiltrated many different governments and several members in the Canadian government. So it's nothing that he's trying to hide. He just tells you straight up, this is what we're doing, and these people have gone through my school of thought.
That continues to be the thing that baffles me most, is that they just come right out and say the stuff they're doing, which sounds futuristic and somewhat sci-fi-ish and crazy. Like, this is stuff that no one would have ever, in history that I know about. Like, I can't ever remember bad guys. I don't know how you'd say it, but people with this plan to totally revolutionize the world in what many would say is a negative way.
Yeah.
They just come right out and say, this is what we're going to do. Here's the people that are going to help do it. They're now your elected leaders or your appointed leaders, however it ends up, depending on the country or whatever.
Yeah.
And this is where we're headed, and this is the crazy stuff we're going to do. And then everyone just says, oh, yes, just don't cut off my Facebook, or, there's compliance.
Yeah. Let me keep watching my cat videos.
Well, I won't interrupt you on that, but the article goes on to talk about the fourth industrial revolution, Doug. It says people aren't merely confused about what digital identity actually entails. Most also don't understand the intended scope of the fourth industrial revolution, another concept invented by Schwab and promoted through the WEF. The fourth industrial revolution is really just another name for transhumanism. There's that word again that we've talked about a few times in the last month.
Yeah.
That is such a weird word, Doug. What does that mean?
Well, basically, Vince, it means that they're planning on changing you genetically.
Well, we know
they're
transgender.
Hook you up. Yeah.
That's a word that we're more familiar with, transgender.
Yeah.
Now, transhumanism means a similar thing. So you said they're going to hook us up with
computers.
Computers.
Yeah. I've heard them say that we're actually going to be like superheroes. That if they get their plan, they're going to hook you up. Your brain's going to be hooked up to a supercomputer. Your body's going to have, like the bionic man powers. You're going to be stronger, faster. We can rebuild them. So that's kind of what they're thinking. Very interesting. It's very strange.
Another name for transhumanism. Schwab and his technocratic allies dream of turning mankind into cyborgs with limited or no capacity to free will. My guess is that for most, that sounds more like what nightmares are made of, exactly. The inability to comprehend or accept just how twisted and power-hungry these individuals are is a psychological hurdle we need to overcome.
Yeah. That's scary to me, Vince. And that's where we're going with the 5G, too. Apparently, 5G has a lot to do with their plan. So
it sounds crazy. We've got another clip to go to.
Let's do it.
But my favorite economic forum speaker of all time is this reptile, Klaus Schwab's top advisor, Dr. Yuval Noah Harari. Let's see what he has to say.
Data might enable human elites to do something even more radical than just build digital dictatorships. By hacking organisms, elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself. Because once you can hack something, you can usually also engineer it.
Elites hacking organisms and re-engineering life itself? Well, he's not talking about doing that to people, is he?
Now, in the past, many tyrants and governments wanted to do it, but nobody understood biology well enough, and nobody had enough computing power and data to hack millions of people. Neither the Gestapo nor the KGB could do it. But soon, at least some corporations and governments will be able to systematically hack all the people.
Well, I guess he was talking about doing that to people. All people, to be specific.
And if indeed we succeed in hacking and engineering life, this will be not just the greatest revolution in the history of humanity. This will be the greatest revolution in biology since the very beginning of life 4 billion years ago. For 4 billion years, nothing fundamental changed.
Not playing God, are you? Because that usually works out super well.
Science is replacing evolution by natural selection with evolution by intelligent design. Not the intelligent design of some God above the clouds.
Oh, you are playing God. Say more.
Evolution by natural selection with evolution by intelligent design. Not the intelligent design of some God above the clouds, but our intelligent design and the intelligent design of our clouds. The IBM cloud, the Microsoft cloud, these are the new driving forces of evolution.
Gosh, you wouldn't by chance have a plan in place on how to control people with your cloud technology, would you? And that plan isn't by chance already being implemented, is it?
Today, we have the technology to hack human beings on a massive scale.
Oh, so you could implement it.
In this time of crisis, you have to follow science. It's often said that you should never allow a good crisis to go to waste.
Sounds familiar. And I guess you are implementing it already. Didn't anyone bother telling this guy not to say any of this out loud on camera? It's a lot of evidence.
You know, Vince, he mentioned evil entities that didn't have this technology, but they had tried this in the past. He talked about the Gestapo and he talked about the KGB. But now all of a sudden, it's us, so it's okay. It's the elites. So you're going to be fine. We're going to take care of everything. Doesn't sound like that's very reassuring to me. So it's kind of scary.
So total control through digital IDs.
Yeah.
I think we've made a compelling argument with the clips in the article that this is a very real thing.
Yeah.
Not just something that's been thought about or written about in somebody's diary or whatever, talked about behind closed doors, which all those things are probably true. This is something being implemented around the world right now.
Right.
And we know from Bible prophecy that a system that looks a lot like this will be present just before the second coming of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So what do people do?
Well, that's the thing that we were talking about before. Make sure your name's written in the Lamb's Book of Life. Make sure you're born again, and make sure that you study this stuff out. I mean, you can sit there and watch a program all day long, but you need to be searching this out for yourself too and learn as much about it as you can.
Good way to do that is to go to endtime.com/JPC, enroll in the Jerusalem Prophecy College, very cost-effective way to grow in discipleship. We highly recommend it. We'll be right back after the break.
I've been part of the Endtime family from the beginning over 30 years ago when my parents, Irvin and Judy Baxter, began ministry from the recliner in our living room. My name is Jana Robbins. I have the pleasure of connecting with our incredible partners every day. Endtime is a small nonprofit that runs a high-traffic website, a daily TV and radio show, the Prophecy College in Jerusalem, and more. Although we have less than 30 team members, we are able to serve tens of millions of people each month. We survive on the goodness of God and donations averaging about $50. If everyone hearing this message gave $22, our financial needs would be met for the year. If you only give to one cause per month, please consider partnering with Endtime to help get the message of our soon-coming King out to the world. Call us at 1-800-ENDTIME to give today, or go to endtime.com to become a monthly or one-time partner.
Welcome back to End of the Age. I'm Vince Stegall here with Doug Norvell. We have open lines at 877-ENDTIME, 877-363-8463. We'll be getting to our calls in just a few moments. We have a little bit more information to cover before we do that. So if you'd like to join us on the air, give us a call now. There are some open lines for you to get in line for. Also, I want to remind you that Dave and Jana, Doug and Tina, and Judy Baxter will be in Gladewater, Texas this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Dave will be teaching on the Antichrist Socialistic Kingdom on Saturday night and Breaking Prophecy News on Sunday morning. There will be a free Mexican dinner Saturday night after the service that the church is providing. So if you are in the Gladewater area, be sure to make plans to attend. And if you're within driving distance, you should make plans to attend. We'd love to have you out, and you could get to meet Dave and Jana, Doug and Tina, and Judy. I know that she appreciates all that has been said to her up to this point when she's gone to conferences. You all have been so encouraging to her. Your prayers for her are certainly felt. And we're so appreciative of you all for remembering her as she navigates such a loss in her life personally. Of course, we've experienced a loss as well here at Endtime, and you all have. Instead of watching Irvin today, you're watching me and Doug. So we get the loss, but obviously much more important than that as well. But yeah, make plans to go to Gladewater. You can learn more about the event at endtime.com/events, or give us a call if you want us to help you over the phone. The number to call us is 800-END-TIME. All right, Doug, the story goes on to say Schwab himself has stated that the fourth industrial revolution, which remember is another word for transhumanism, will lead to a fusion of our physical, our digital, and our biological identities beyond your own enhanced 5G cloud-connected self. The WEF foresees a near future in which everyone's digital identity is connected to each other through an internet of bodies.
Yeah.
That sounds as creepy as all get out.
Yeah, and we've got a little bit of video footage here where they're going to talk about it, and I encourage everybody to listen very closely to what they say in this video, Vince, because they break it down, and this is them talking about it. This isn't us reading anything. This isn't our color commentary. This isn't a comedian. These are the real people who are talking about it. So if we can look at that video, listen carefully as we go through this video.
They call it part of the fourth industrial revolution.
One of the features of this fourth industrial revolution is that it doesn't change what we are doing, but it changes us.
The very idea of human being some sort of natural concept is really going to change. Up until now, the conversation we've been having is around freedom of speech. Once we can access people's thoughts and access people's emotions.
The focus, as all of you know, today is on what's now called the Internet of Bodies, involving medical implants and other kinds of devices that go inside your body, and all together with the Internet as a whole comprise the Internet of Bodies.
The Internet of Bodies, or IOB, is actually an ecosystem. It's a bunch of devices that are connected to the Internet that contain software and that either collect personal health data about you or can alter the body's function. We think of the Internet of Bodies as this collection of all these devices as well as all the data that the devices are gathering about you. And in healthcare, Internet of Bodies has been around for quite a while.
So the Internet of Bodies, imagine the power of AI. What is artificial intelligence? It's a way to automate computation and cognition. So we can now automate learning, perceiving, doing computation. It's a pervasive general purpose technology that will be used in all of our industries, that will come into our professional networks, our private networks, our schools, our industries and our offices. What I wanted to epitomize with the Internet of Bodies is this notion that we will be under assessment, we will be under measure of computation in every aspect of our lives in the future. From what you eat, who you date, what you buy on the internet, how much energy you use, but also what are your vital signs? How well are you doing in terms of health? What kind of specific genetic quirks do you have? What's your genome telling about your health, about your mental health, about how well you are doing, how well you are aging, what kind of disease you are susceptible to?
It has a bit of an Orwellian twinge to it.
Well,
very interesting. He mentions Orwellian twinge to it, referring to the book 1984. But this is exactly what that talked about way back when that book was written. In 1948, the book was written, and it was a projection of what Orwell saw in the future and they're talking about the very thing that he wrote about. They're talking about being able to read your mind, Vince. They're talking about you having this either injected in you or swallow it like a pill, but put this nanotechnology inside your body that would allow you to be connected to the Internet of Bodies.
So they are saying quite clearly that they want to modify your behavior and control your psychological reality. And so every new technology, every new surveillance opportunity that they bring forward is to further this goal.
Right. And it'll tie in also with the Green New Deal, because
you better believe it.
Yeah, they're going to watch you, everything you do. I mean, if
how many trees we'll save if we don't print off IDs?
Right. But you think about it, Vince. Think about things that you do that they would consider not environmentally friendly. Like one of the things, I live out in the country, and every now and then a storm will blow a tree over. We cut that tree up and use it for firewood. Well, they don't want you burning that in a fire because it's polluting the air. But then they also want you to replace that tree with a new tree and those kind of things. They would be able to control you to see if you're doing that. And if you weren't, you would be punished for it in whatever way they determine, you know. Remember, Klaus Schwab said, you'll have nothing and be happy. You'll own nothing and be happy. Well, we won't own anything.
By 2030.
Yeah. Everything will belong to the collective. It's very, very strange that we're talking about this, because it seems like something from Star Trek or something, you know. It's just crazy.
It is crazy. We got one more clip we want to get to, and then we'll get to the calls. Is that right?
Let's go to the calls, and if we get to the clip, we'll get to the clip, because it's kind of a long clip. So.
All right. Well, let's go to the calls. Don in Michigan, welcome to End of the Age.
Hello. Nice to talk to you guys again. You guys are talking about the digital IDs and everything. There's 21 states right now that just signed on for it, and some red states currently. And my question is when it does come time to having to comply with it, what is your guys' plans when it comes to your financials and stuff? What are you going to do?
Well, I mean, for one thing, you know, we've talked about the situation of maybe a cryptocurrency and how that could actually keep us and give us ways around being connected to the system. Other things we've talked about is maybe a barter system. We might go to something like that again. But, you know, the bottom line to all of it is, if the Bible tells us in Matthew chapter 6 that if we are seeking the kingdom of God and His righteousness, that all the things we need will be added unto us. And so that's the bottom line. We need to make sure that we are doing that we're seeking the kingdom, that we're helping others get into the kingdom, and we're following after God's righteousness. And He's going to take care of us. He's shown us that through history. I think, Vince, you know, with the children in the wilderness, the Hebrew children in the wilderness, where they walked around for 40 years and their shoes didn't even wear out. And God can do anything. And if we are just seeking God and we're right with God and our names are written in the Lamb's Book of Life, He's going to provide a way for us to be taken care of. You know, people ask us all the time if we should be stocking up on food, stocking up on emergency supplies. I tell people they ought to do that anyway, because we never know what kind of natural disaster we're going to get into, Don.
I try that. Yeah, I've got two boys that won't let me.
I hear you.
Right, with the current situation and everything going on, it's just kind of smart to do that anyways, in hindsight, a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
We're doing what we know to do now, and then, you know, like Doug said, we are having faith in Jesus and that He'll provide for us. So we're just doing what we know to do for now.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely think the barter system is going to be coming back to be able to get around that. But I had another thing, too. You guys are talking about, you know, total control and everything. You know, the digital ID, it's not just for money or medical. It's kind of like a wallet all on its own with everything involved into it. Now, as far as, like, you guys talking about transhumanism, now what do you guys think about Elon Musk and Neuralink?
I will never let anybody put anything inside my body. They're not going to do that as far as I'm concerned. Nothing like that.
No, yeah, I get that, but I'm saying, do you think that could be something they might try to sought after?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that may be something that they're going to try to connect with as well, because he's talking about being able to do that as soon as the end of this year, being able to have a Neuralink hooked up into your brain.
Right.
But I don't drive an electric car because I have to hook it up to something, and I ain't going to let my brain be hooked up to anything either, Don.
It looks like, stuff's playing out a little bit faster, even more than what we even might thought of.
Yeah.
Sure does. Well, thanks for your call, Don. We appreciate hearing from you. Now, Doug, I will say that clip is less than 90 seconds long if you want to go to it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can go to it if you want.
All right.
Sure.
The people are calling for the clip.
Okay,
so.
let's see the clip. The last clip.
In conclusion to the question, is Klaus Schwab the most dangerous man in the world? Here's his top guy again.
Humans are now hackable animals. The whole idea that humans have, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over.
Free will, that's over. It will indeed be over. If you outsource your thinking to outside influences and take the easy way out by choosing obedience over bravery. Doing so makes you very susceptible to being manipulated by fear. And if this happens, you will fail at remaining a free, sovereign individual. But here's how Schwab and his friends, who sociopathically never smile, fail at their great reset, and you succeed at remaining a free, sovereign individual. Be guided by your own critical thinking and what your heart and soul knows is right. And choose bravery over obedience. Obedience or bravery? Outsource your perspectives or do your own critical thinking? We are in the process of either the Great Reset or the Great Awakening, and the choice isn't Klaus Schwab's. The choice is yours.
Amen to
My,
that.
my.
Amen to that.
Well, we've got time for one more call, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Joe from New York. You've got less than a minute. Let's make it quick, Joe.
Can you guys hear me all right today?
We
Yes,
can.
sir.
We've got less than a minute.
God bless you. They're all talking about precursors to Mark of the Beast. Every Christian should be able to see that very easily. But you see, they've got to let catastrophes like the Six Trumpet Wars got to take place. Then people will be frightened, including Christians that don't have the proper insight and education. That's why what you guys are doing, God bless you. Keep doing it. And every believer who loves the Lord has got to be prepared by having the Word of God within us. We got to live by that because stuff is hitting the fan. I'm here on the front lines in New York. Believe me, every system here is being changed that is mind-blowing compared to how I grew up. God bless you. That's all I have to say. Be prepared with the Word of God because it's taking place, man.
Yeah.
God bless you.
God bless you, Joe.
Hey, Joe, we're praying for you and your wife as well. I just want you to know that, we love you here at the ministry and we're lifting you guys up in prayer. I think he's gone.
I think he's gone. All right, well, Doug, to wrap it up, you
Yeah.
have 20 seconds. What do we tell people about digital IDs and how to be prepared for that?
There is that system that's coming on us, and it's coming on us quick, Vince. And so the Bible tells us if we're going to avoid that, we need to make sure that our name is in the Lamb's Book of Life. And so that's what I urge everybody. Come to the conference this weekend. Come listen to Dave, and you'll learn more about this, the Great Reset, and how to be born again.
This has been End of the Age, brought to you by the faithful partners of Endtime Ministries. If you're not currently a partner with Endtime Ministries, or if you would like more information, we invite you to call us at 1-800-ENDTIME. That's 1-800-363-8463, or visit us online at endtime.com.
Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook page.